Yeah, while I was in for mental training, being mentally strong, doing what I had to do on the interrogation side. But
Oh yeah,
while I was deployed, I read a book called Awaken the Giant Within
Tony Robbins.
by Tony Robbins. I
Yeah.
read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I remember this. Here's the story. So I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad in Iraq in 2004.
Okay.
Something like that. I forget. But I read that and I was like, wow, I never thought about that kind of just passive type income except in real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I need to make this real estate thing even bigger. So how I did that to get more money to buy more real estate is he mentioned in the book car wash. And so when I got back to the United States, there was a car wash for sale outside the Tacom outside of Detroit, Michigan when it went through its downturn. So it was really cheap. So I bought a car wash and then I sold a car wash. And that gave me more money to buy more properties. Right?
Wow.
So, just from that little book.
Yeah.
Self-development, I read Awaken the Giant Within. I started, then the internet and YouTube started coming on, so you started to get to see more things.
Yep.
So I was always interested in it, but in the military, it was never at the forefront of your mind. You read books about it, but I was never going to take leave to go to an event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't do any of that when I was in either. I didn't get into it until after the military as well. But we've got some changes coming up with some of the things that you're going to be working on.
Yeah.
Next year, so we got to get into that. But
what's funny too is a lot of the stuff I learned in the self-development, personal development space, I already was doing it in the military.
Right.
I didn't know that that's what you called it. There was a name for it.
Yeah, you didn't have a name for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
But now reflecting back, it's like, oh, okay, you know what? I was doing that already. Now it's just like, okay, now I can put it in action in other areas of my life. Which, like I said, I was never special forces, but the bottom line is there's so much so much mental training and they push you and push you and push you. And in your line of work in the military, listen, I know you see a lot of people probably quit. they just quit.
They just stop.
I saw it.
They stop.
I see. Yeah.
You see it Hell Week. They just stop.
Oh yeah.
And they're done. They're gone.
So,
or actually, you're so ingrained in just trying not to get messed up, and then all of a sudden, when the evolution's over, you look around and like 10 people are gone because the instructor's just carrying away, put them on a bus, and they're gone. Right. You're like, wow.
So before we get it, I want to dive a little bit into this triathlon thing because I want to know the reality going into this. Now, 17. Anthony, are these full? Actually, it really doesn't even matter.
Okay, so let's talk. These are 17 Ironman triathlon, 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, 26.2 mile run. 17 of those things.
When did you start? What was the first one?
My first one was the Great Floridian in 1996 or 7, or right there. Right, that was the first one, and that one was kind of probably, I want to say, that's the one I remember the most because that's what got me on the cover of Triathlete magazine because I was carrying my then 1-year-old. Yeah, I was carrying my 1-year-old in my arms, and my 2-year-old was down here running with me, and we were coming across the finish line. And it was the most beautiful moment in the world because back then you could still, your kids and stuff could run across. They've changed the rules now and it's not allowed. But back then they could. And that was my debut, and I was like, yay, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, like, that was the start of back then sponsorships were a little bit weird. So Power Bar was like, hey, we'll give you like power bars and $500 for you to learn stuff. Sponsorship came a long way since then. But yeah, so that was my first one, 19 back then.
So what even got you? So I mean, obviously you're up for challenges going into the military, doing what you were doing. But why triathlon? Obviously, did you start this back in high school?
Yeah, so I started doing triathlons, but I ran in high school. I was a runner. I did triathlons. I did Iron Kids.
So this goes back. Yeah, this goes way back.
So my claim to fame is me and Lance Armstrong and I are the same age, and I got my ass kicked by Lance when we were 17.
Right. So. Okay, you know what? Tell that story about this because there was this is before anybody knew who he was.
This is before anybody. Okay, so nobody knows who Lance Armstrong is.
Right.
The kids. Where it's called the Wendy's Triathlon. It's a small, it was a big triathlon back then. It's an Olympic-sized triathlon, so it's 1.2 mile swim, 40K on the bike, so 24-mile run, and then 24-mile bike, and then a 6-mile run. So Iron Kids is a series of kids events across the nation back then, and nobody, this is before Lance started as a triathlete. I'm going to tell the story. Nobody knew who he is, but he is a 17-year-old kid or 16 or 17-year-old kid, and we do this triathlon, and he wins, and he beats all this med, and he was amazing. And there's no drugs or nothing back then. He was just an amazing athlete, and it was his mindset. He thought he could win, and he won. I was a local kid that was way in the back, but I was a claim to fame. So my mom showed me the clipping a few years back. She's like, "Did you know this, Lance?" She's so sweet. And this is when I'd tell her, "Yeah, he won the Tour de France." She's like, "What's that?" So I will tell you more triathlon stories. So in addition to doing all those triathlons, this is really weird because I don't know what to say.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, who's back? Was I still live while you were gone?
I think so, because it didn't stop. So
it didn't stop. Okay, yeah. So we got
technology's awesome.
Story. Okay,
technology's awesome when it works the way you want it to.
Hey man, it's all good. And so I was getting ready to tell them. So not only did I do 17 Ironmans, but
yes,
I've done hundreds of marathons. Don't even know how many. I ran 100 miles. I got this when I first came to. Actually, my wife put up there. I don't keep a lot. This is the Ultra Race of Champions.
Okay, so break that down for people. Now, I know what it is, but a lot of people may have no clue.
Okay, so this is the Ultra Race of Champions. This is an ultra running event. We run 100 miles. But let me tell you the story about mindset on that. That one's actually a good one. Let's talk about mindset and drive.
Yes, for sure.
I'm a decent runner, right? I can run a marathon with the best of in my age group now. I can't run 1:59 with Elodie Kipchoge. That was amazing, by the way.
Right, yeah.
I can still run sub 3 hours, though.
Okay.
Pretty decent, for not trained. I can still go do that. Anyway, this was back 4 years ago, 5 into 6 years ago when I first moved to Colorado. I thought I could do that. So I started training, but I'd never ran that far, 1. 2, I never ran in the mountains that far.
Right, yeah.
So I go to this race, and I'm like, they start out way slower. So I'm like, okay, I'm running in the front. And we go up the mountain, we come down the mountain, and we go over here. I'm like, okay, that's the first loop. We have to do this 3 times.
Right.
And I'm in the front with the group of 4 or 5 dudes that are the best in the world at this. I didn't know they were the best in the world. They were.
Yeah.
We go in the second loop. I'm like, man, it's starting to get hard. 2.5 loops. At the second and a half, I'm like, ooh, I had to stop. These guys keep going. I had to stop.
Yeah.
Because my legs hurt. Then I started eating. So from there, I went from this race was so hard that half the field dropped out, but I was never going to quit. So I went from being in the top 5 to 12 hours later being the second to last person to finish. Second to last. I still got the belt buckle for finishing. Right? You get that for finishing, but you talk about a humbling experience to go from first to almost in the front group to being almost last. But I never quit. That's the thing, is I never quit. People were like, just quit. Everybody else dropped out. I was like, I'm not going to drop out. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. I still had to make time cutoffs, right? Or they pull me.
Right.
That was, and then, Anyway.
So give me what, just out of curiosity, so what was your time doing? This is 100 miles.
100 miles, 17 hours and some minutes, almost 18 hours.
Oh my gosh. You can't be you can't have a mentality on that one of, I think I might make it.
No, you gotta know you're gonna make
it. That's the wrong. That's
you don't. I don't ever. And so here's the thing with me. I went into that race thinking I was gonna win.
Right.
I just thinking I was gonna finish.
Yep.
But during the race, things changed.
Yeah.
Reality.
You know what? Business is the same thing, right?
Business is the same way.
It's the same thing.
Business is the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing.
It is. So it was good. I finished, and it was a very good learning experience. Have not done that since. Probably will never do that again.
Right. Box check, no more. So that's incredible, man. That is absolutely incredible that you didn't quit, because for a lot of people, I could very easily see the mentality of, okay, Yeah. Oh, cool. No question about it. No
Yeah.
question about it. So,
And you know what's funny is with all the stuff I've ever won in my life, and I've done a lot of cool things, and you know, you won't see like in my wife's and mine house, like you won't see all of our accolades, all this stuff, none of it.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I keep up here on my shelf.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me, you know, hey, it just reminds me just to never quit. And like,
No doubt.
you didn't win. It's there. So
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, you talk yourself in and out of things real easily. Yeah, look, I'd make that into a necklace personally, Anthony, but just me. So listen, let's get into this. We got a couple of new now. A lot of people have heard you talk about the background up to this point. You got into real estate. You've been pretty much a top producer at every level and everything because of your mentality of not
because of that mindset.
And in real estate, you gotta have that mentality because you know there's so many people that get into this business, real estate, mortgage, and don't laugh. Like the numbers are crazy.